Hello and welcome back to Fallout 76. Today we are going to have a look at a couple of named 10mm submachine guns. Now these are both quest rewards. First up we've got Perfect Storm. Now Perfect Storm comes from a quest you get at Wavy Willards. Inside the park, in the middle, maybe towards the north side of it, there is a Miss Nanny and she is looking for a missing child and she will give you a quest. It's a pretty short quest line. At the end of it, Perfect Storm is the quest reward. Now the other one is Old Guard's 10mm submachine gun. The rest of the name, Anti-Armor, comes from the legendary effect, and Marksman's actually, that name comes from the mods that are on it. So it's actually Old Guard's 10mm submachine gun. I'll just be calling it Old Guard. Now that comes from the Wastelanders quest. It's actually the Settlers quest line. It's the last quest in that quest line. When you talk to Paige, you will get a quest to go and talk to some army people. They will be over here at the Ransack Bunker. You'll actually go to Robco. Once you wrap up that quest, you'll go back and talk to Paige, and you will get Old Guard as a quest reward. Now, Perfect Storm, it has the same stats, everything, accuracy, fire rate, damage. It's all the same as a typical submachine gun, but it adds in fire damage. In my case, it is 42 damage over 3 seconds. And that fire damage is actually affected by damage cards. So I have Bloody Mess equipped, I have Commando cards equipped, and that does increase the damage. The base is actually 24. So Old Guards, it has anti-armor, you can see right in the name, so that is 50% armor penetration. It actually has a couple of differences that are not part of the description. So the fire rate on this is 100. The typical submachine gun, 10mm submachine gun, has a fire rate of 91. So it's slightly faster. It's not as fast as the legendary effect, faster fire rate. It's about halfway there. So this is like a 1.5 star item. And the VATS accuracy is less, which is kind of weird. So the normal VATS accuracy will be 59. On this, it's 57. So you probably wouldn't notice the difference, but there is a difference. And I have both of these modded the same. I have them with a calibrated receiver for extra critical damage. I will be using them in VATS, and I will be doing critical hits. I have an align long barrel, forceful stock, quick magazine. Basically, I've modded these to be as low cost in AP as possible. 24 is still quite high. There is no suppressor, there is no reflex sight, so this is the best we can do. Another way to tell visually which ones I'm using, so I put the paint on this one. I only have one paint, so this one has a paint on it, and Perfect Storm does not. The build I'm using is just my typical Commando loadout. I have all of the Commando cards maxed out, and I will be relying on critical hits, so I have critical savvy and better criticals. Now, since these are not suppressed weapons, sneaking with them is difficult. I will not be able to stay hidden very long, but I will do my best. First up, we have a Mirelurk Queen. I'm kind of curious how, so this is the Perfect Storm. So this is the one that gives us burn damage. I'm kind of curious. Now the downside about that burn damage is it is over time. So yeah, the AP cost is crazy. I just run out of AP so quickly. But the burn damage is damage over time, and I'm not really sure how useful. Oh, another thing, I did test this with Grenadier and Demo Expert. Demo Expert doesn't add any damage at all, and Grenadier doesn't seem to have any effect on the radius of the flame damage. Ah, okay. So, and that's a visual thing. I mean, I just looked and yeah, it doesn't seem that like there's any area of effect at all from the flame damage. All right, let's switch over to the Old Guard and see what we could do in terms of damage. When I was playing with these a little bit, it's definitely noticeable getting that, and armor penetration seems to be more valuable than the flame damage. Now, obviously, I could put a I think armor-piercing magazine. I could put an armor-piercing magazine of some sort on Perfect Storm, so I could get some armor penetration with the fire damage. But then the AP cost even gets ridiculous. I mean, it's already too high. Then it just gets even more high. So, if you wanted to more high, it gets higher. So, if you were using it out of VATS, that's probably what I would do. I'd probably put an armor-piercing magazine on it because you're not worried about AP cost at that point. But because I'm using it in VATS, I just went for VATS efficiency as much as I could. So as I have them modded, Old Guard does more damage just because of that armor penetration, but I actually prefer Perfect Storm because it has an effect I can't get on another submachine gun. So that is the thing about Old Guard. It really doesn't do anything special. You could easily get a legendary one that will give you anti-armor with faster fire rate, and it would be an even faster fire rate over what this has. So this is kind of yeah, like I said, it's like a 1.5 star rather than a 2-star item. But unfortunately, with this gun, I think with Perfect Storm, the burn damage is really cool looking. It's fun to see your enemies on fire, but I don't think it's actually all that useful. Because it is damage over time, the most effective way to use burn damage is to shoot and then let the burn damage, you know, shoot and then wait, shoot and then wait, and then let the burn damage take over. Let's go for some armor penetration on this guy. There we go. And that doesn't really work, as you can see, this is not a suppressed weapon, so as soon as I start shooting, neither one of them are suppressed, but as soon as I start shooting with this, I mean, I do like the fire, I think it looks really cool, but as soon as I start shooting, I'm detected and I'm under fire, so shooting and then waiting for the burn damage to take effect is not very practical. I would love to see a slow firing weapon like a Gauss rifle, a sniper rifle, something like that with this effect on it. I think it would be really cool because you will shoot, there'll be time for the burn damage to take effect before you shoot your next shot. In this case, you keep shooting until they're dead so you're not getting the most benefit from the burn damage, or you shoot and wait and then you're taking damage because you are detected. Got some sort of battle going on behind me somewhere. Someone's fighting something, but I have no idea. As far as whether these are worth using, I think they're both worth using. I love the flame effect. I think it's actually really cool. So just for a visual thing, it's pretty neat. Usefulness, I don't know that it's that useful on a weapon like this. Damage over time on a fast-firing weapon, I'm just not, I do question the utility of that. Of the two, I think Perfect Storm is probably the one you want to keep. Long term, because there's no way you can replicate the effect, right? There's no other submachine gun that has the burn damage. Yeah, you just can't get that at all. As far as Old Guard goes, I think it's something you can replace. I mean, it's a 2-star basically. It's almost a 2-star rather. So if I had an anti-armor with faster fire rate, that would actually be better than an Old Guard. Plus you have the chance of putting a 3rd-star on it, maybe reduced AP cost, which is really what you want on one of these. Reduced AP cost would be pretty much the only 3rd-star I'd care about. If you're not using it at VATS, maybe faster reload is a good thing as well. Or faster crit refill if you're someone who spams canned coffee and you have unlimited AP. But even though it does less damage, because the damage over time usually isn't doing anything because I've killed stuff. Oh, there we go, something fun. Because it does less damage, or even though it does less damage rather, I still prefer the Perfect Storm. I just, I like the visuals of it. I think it looks really neat. But I would say Perfect Storm is the one you keep, okay, VATS is not, oh, Invisible Wall. Perfect Storm, I think, is the one that you will want to keep long-term. The other one, Old Guard, is one you'll want to use until you get, I mean, you can obviously replace that with something better. But I just keep switching back to Perfect Storm. I like the, I like the fireballs. I think it's a lot of fun. The fireballs are really neat. So, from a fun perspective, I'd say that Perfect Storm is the most fun of these two. Nothing beats lighting robots on fire. All right, let's see if we can light a dragon on fire. Manual aim with these are kind of tricky with 10mm submachine guns just because the sight, at least for me, I don't care for the sight. The gun is a little bouncy, but if you're using out of VATS, there's actually mods you can use to actually make it a lot more stable. Let's do, okay, there's some armor penetration for all of these people. And yes, I know I reload a lot. Yeah, it actually does nice damage, but you can see my AP is just gone in an instant because they are just so inefficient. We'll reload that. Actually, just play with both of them, and then I don't have to reload. But the fire damage, oh, burn. I love the fire damage. It's so much fun. But you can see there's no, of course, I don't have Grenadier equipped, but there's no area of effect on that. The fire is concentrated. Looks like a little bit of lag there, like he wasn't taking damage. But the fire is concentrated on the enemy. And there you go, a couple of named 10mm submachine guns. I think they're both worth using. They both do really nice damage. Old Guard is one that you could actually replace. So that's one you use and eventually replace it because you could get a 2-star or a 3-star that would improve upon it in every way. Well, except for the anti-armor effect, you just match that. But you could get a faster fire rate, you could get reduced AP cost. Honestly, it's not really anything special. Perfect Storm is the one you want to keep though. There's no way to, even though it's the same as a regular submachine gun except for the fire damage, you can't replace that fire damage. So it is unique in that way, and so I think that one's a keeper. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit one of the buttons down below, and I hope you'll join me in the next one. Thank you very much.